Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a topic today that's super personal for millions of us, but it's just surrounded by myths and bad information. We're talking about why most Americans are overweight. And here's the twist, it's probably not their fault.
I mean, wow, that's a heavy statement, right? But it's so key to understanding this whole thing. Because if your first instinct is to think, well, people should just eat better, I want you to just hang on for a second. This isn't really a story about laziness or a lack of willpower. It's a story about the world we all live in.
For decades, we've been told this really simple story you see on the left. Just eat less, move more. Have some discipline. It puts all the blame squarely on you, the individual. But the uncomfortable truth, the real story, is that most of us are just responding to the environment around us. You're doing exactly what a massive invisible system has trained you to do. And the results of that system, they're absolutely staggering. Today, more than 2/3 of all American adults are considered either overweight or obese. Just let that number sink in. This isn't some small fraction of the population. It's the overwhelming majority.
I mean, just look at this chart. It really shows you the scale we're talking about. A huge shift like this doesn't just happen because 2/3 of a country suddenly woke up one day and decided to throw their willpower out the window. No way. Something fundamental in our world had to change. Quietly, but very, very dramatically.
So what was it? What changed? Well, let's start with the biggest piece of the puzzle, our food. The modern food system is an absolute marvel of engineering. The problem is that engineering has been turned against our own biology.
The next time you walk through a grocery store, I want you to realize you're surrounded by these brain hackers. Sugar, refined carbs, artificial flavors. They aren't just simple ingredients. Oh no. They are meticulously designed to hijack your brain's reward centers. They create these intense cravings that have nothing to do with actual hunger. And there's one ingredient in particular that's kind of the king of this whole operation. We'll get back to that.
And here's the kicker. In our society, the unhealthiest food is almost always the cheapest, the fastest, and the easiest to get. So when you're juggling work and family and you're on a tight budget and you have to choose between a quick, cheap meal or something healthier that costs more time and more money, convenience is going to win. It's a perfectly rational choice inside a completely irrational system.
Okay, so the food itself is working against us, but it doesn't stop there. The very structure of our modern lives has completely changed our relationship with just moving our bodies.
Just think about a typical day, right? For so many of us, it starts with sitting. In a car, on a bus, on a train. Then it's probably 8 hours of sitting at a desk. And then how do we unwind at the end of the day? By sitting on the couch to watch a screen. Our bodies were literally built to move, but we've cleverly engineered movement to be totally optional. Sitting is now our default setting.
All right, so we've got hacked food and a life designed for sitting. But there's a third invisible player here that has a massive role: chronic stress. And it does way more than just put you in a bad mood. It physically changes your body.
See, when stress stops being a temporary thing and becomes your constant companion, your body's chemistry actually shifts. Your system gets flooded with the stress hormone cortisol, which basically tells your body to store more fat, especially around your stomach. Your sleep gets worse, which messes with your metabolism, and your natural hunger signals, they just go haywire, making you crave all those high-calorie comfort foods. In modern life, that kind of stress is everywhere.
So when you put it all together, the food that's designed to be addictive, the lifestyle that keeps us from moving, and the constant low-grade stress, you start to see a very different picture. The problem isn't the person. The problem is the environment.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. Blaming people, shaming them, telling them to just try harder, it's completely useless. It's like blaming a fish for not being able to breathe when it's out of the water. We are all just reacting in a totally normal way to a completely abnormal environment.
So here's the big takeaway, the thing we really need to change in our thinking. Obesity isn't the disease, it's the symptom. It's like a giant flashing warning light on your car's dashboard, telling you that something is deeply, deeply wrong with the system itself, with our food, our work, and our stress.
And that's the first step, right? Acknowledging the system is broken. But, systems are complicated. And if we had to find the single biggest driver, the one component that really makes our food so addictive and our whole environment so unhealthy, what would that be?
Sugar. Remember that key ingredient we talked about? It's the thread that ties this whole mess together. The hacked food, the constant cravings, the metabolic chaos. But knowing what the problem is, well, that's only half the battle. The real story is how it all happened. In our next explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how sugar quietly took over the American food supply, turning a simple ingredient into the engine of a national health crisis.